Welcome to episode 21. This is a 52-week creative journey that I'm exploring in my art journal, and you are invited to come along. Welcome to this next episode, and we are continuing our journey of being inspired by the elements. And today, hopefully you can guess it, we are inspired by the element of air. So this is so exciting because there's actually so much to talk about and share about the element of air. But it was a bit of a challenge in my journal because, sometimes elements can, be in their own sort of form and not always cooperate the way that you want it to. So my best advice for you is to flow with the elements. So this is what I created in my art journal. This week we talked about, the flow of language as an element of air. We looked at airflow and all of the other aspects of the element of air, and we are going to be playing in our art journal. So give me a second and I will turn the camera around and I will show you exactly how. Hi, my name is Gideon. I'm also known as Gideon Slight. Welcome to my studio, and I'm your creatively fit coach. So join me now. So today is completely experimental. Like it's always experimental, right? Let's start with a sip of coffee. So I've got some variety of little papers here that I've torn previously. A few of them are left, and I also got some other scrap papers out of my stash. I've got a roll off page here, and I've got my brayer, and I've got a metal straw. It doesn't matter what it's made of. I've got some alcohol, I've got a bit of ink, but mostly paint, because I'm going to use my gel plate and I'm going to see today, experimentally of course, what we can do to sort of be inspired by the element of air in some way. So let's just get to it and see what we can sort of create. So I sort of got all of the shades of the blue sky that sort of reminds us of air together here, some kind of atmospheric happening. And I'm just gonna play and see what we can create with it. It might be useful, it might not be, I have no idea, but you know what? Here we go. So I want to see if I can use the alcohol to move some of this paint and just create some interest. I'm just going to brayer these two colors together, and at the same time continue to work on my roll of pages, because they are always just such great collage elements, right? So I'm going to try with this alcohol spray and just add a few spritz there. And I'm going to use my metal straw because air is all about movement. Well, that didn't quite pan out. Let's try adding some alcohol ink. Not alcohol ink, I'm lying to you. Drawing ink. This is all acrylic based. So let's try again. Now the problem is to turn this plate around on this plastic. I haven't done that since my training as a creative coach. I don't know, let's see on maybe this piece of white if this is going to be any good at all. It's all experimental, like they say. Let's just give the paint some chance, and I'm also going to use just a piece of other paper on these little ends because we don't want to waste anything. And you know, maybe it will create some interesting texture to play with later. That looks interesting. Got some of these previous pages here that I feel is not completely finished yet, or sort of might lean itself to a little bit more experimentation. So I've got my white acrylic ink here because I did want to do some straw blowing. I mean, hello, let's literally use the element of air. And I'm going to use my hairdryer because it's so noisy and, you know, it might make a bigger mess than I want. So I'm going to play on this page for now with my acrylic ink, and I'm just going to dab some white ink drops there. Let's improve some kind of flow here with the alcohol. Let's see what happens. Oh, I mustn't faint. You know, it's interesting to say the least. Let's do this instead of ink, instead of alcohol, let's use some water. Because the acrylic ink is also quite thick. So let's see. faint now. But you know, at least I got to use air from my lungs to create some interesting patterns. So I'm gonna go and recover from this lightheadedness. And when I return, we'll play a bit in our art journal. Thanks for watching. Right, everyone, so it is time to play in our art journal. And always exciting to use our weekly prompt, and this week we are taking inspiration from the elements. So we continue our journey in using the elements as inspiration. Now let me just show you what I've brought together here. I did a deep dive into some of my collage elements, and a very interesting thing that I think that is worth adding to the element of air is language, because we use our vocal cords and the airwaves in order to communicate with each other. So I definitely want to include an element of language which also speaks of the element of air. I also have a beautiful little design from Bali here, and this is one of those mythical birds that carried the gods. I will have to look up its name before I tell you something that is not true, but that's also for me very air elemental. And as you know, I do like Asian and Buddhist content because it's just so beautiful aesthetically. And this temple complex with a beautiful sky is definitely something that is a contender. And then also looking at astrology and, you know, the symbols of the planets. And we also have the air element here, which is that triangle with a little bit of a right angle on top of it. That is very nice. And then we've got three air astrology signs that are air elements, and that is Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. So maybe we'll add a little bit of astrology as well. I've got some variety of papers here, self-made and, you know, store-bought, that I felt might speak of air in some way. Again, a beautiful scene from Tibet with a Buddhist monk in the Tibetan, what shall we call this, castle with a beautiful blue sky. So that's also worth it. The Himalayas, come on. You know, it sort of all relates, and I do like that contrast we have up there. And then I also have a fan from Japan, you know, fanning the air, fanning the passion, cooling down, moving the air, you know, all of these things are related to that. And then I have these two pages that we just finished in our creative section, where I literally used a straw to blow the ink and to move the paint. So literally using air to create. So that definitely has to be included as well. And I have this brayer off page that I started this morning session with, and I just love the atmospheric sort of feeling that the brayer gives me when I roll off paint. So wherever I need some background, that will definitely be usable. So this is my page that I opened up to, previously activated with some other pages, papers, mediums. I used charcoal, I used oil pastels, pencil, graphite, and so forth. So again, we might not see any of this in the background when we are done, and that's perfectly okay. That's the fun part about collage, that you don't have to, you know, overthink so much, and don't be, you know, sad or say, you know what, why did I bother to put that piece down if it's not going to show up. Remember, this is all experimental. Sometimes you use what's in the background, sometimes you don't. Sometimes it comes together easily, and other times you have to spend a little bit of time with it. So that's all perfectly okay. So I'm gonna just stop my video here because you don't want to listen to me talking and thinking out loud too much. I will do a voiceover where it is necessary, but I need to get into my right brain now in order to create this page that I'm so excited about. So I'll see you on the other side of this creative process. So I wanted to share with you guys some trivia about the air element that I think might be inspirational. So as I play here in my art journal, I decided to use vertical lines as my inspiration because last week with water we played with a horizontal sort of composition, and I thought that a vertical composition will help further indicate the element of air. So the element of air is directly linked to anahata, the heart chakra, and a sense of touch, often thought of as the place where the soul abides. The heart is a place we might consider our life energy to be held. As you have read in the words above, the heart and chest are where prana vayu primarily circulates. That is very interesting. People might also ask, so what is the spiritual meaning of the air element? Being that which we breathe, it is essential to life and can be thought of as the primary element. The Greek spiro means breath. From this we get inspiration, as if the gods were filling us with the divine breath, also connected with stormy wind, creation, and a medium for movement. So, what kind of person is an air element? The air element is, the element of air is one that allows for freedom, liberation, and a breath of fresh air. So, people born under a sign of air are adventurous, curious, and ever changing. Just like a breeze, they are intellectual and tend to live up in the clouds, making it difficult for others to pin them down. That describes me so well, as I'm a Libra and an air sign myself. So it's interesting to read all of these interesting information relating to air as an element and how I relate to it as a Libra. So I think my page is starting to get together here, and I'm just trimming off the excess so that I can focus on what is really happening in front of me. Let's see, what can the element of air do? Create highly destructive windstorms, whirlwinds, tornadoes, and storms. Manipulate and control the weather and surrounding climate at will. Recall memories from the sounds of objects. Use empathic precognition. Wow, that's interesting. I definitely didn't know all of this. Wow. What is an air element in signs? We looked at this. We said it's Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. Are you maybe a Gemini or Aquarius or Libra? Tell me in a comment below. I'm very eager to hear. Wow. It's just always so much fun to page through Google to see what information is at our fingertips. It's like having an encyclopedia at our fingertips, so it's always exciting. So I'm just using a variety of medium here. I decided to paste in some air fans, Japanese hand fans, and they also move the air, right? So it would be an instrument to sort of move air or indicate movement. And my Buddhist monk on the left page is sort of staring down at this corner, so I thought it good to put some objects in this space where his gaze could rest. Here I'm just using multimedia. I've got some oil pastels, and I'm just integrating some of the layers. And there you have it. Another page is done in our art journal. And this week we used the element of air as our inspiration for the page in our art journal. We played on our jelly plate. We created some textured papers, all inspired by the element of air, and brought this all together. And I hope that you enjoyed this installation. So I'm excited to see what you guys are going to do with the element of air as your inspiration. So do take a photograph and share it with us on the Creative Heart. And I'll see you again next week for another episode of my Creative Art Journal journey. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys again next week. Bye bye for now.